My sister went on a tirade about how my sister-in-law took the shortcut by getting a C-section and has the audacity to complain, so I called my sister a dumb jerk who couldn't get through high school, and now my brother, who didn't defend his own wife, is mad at me for interfering in women's business. Posted by you/ApprehensiveCry5231. I was at my mom's house for dinner, and me, my older siblings, and my sister-in-law were in the living room talking while my mom got dinner ready. My relationship with my siblings is pretty bad due to some background familial issues and the fact that we just don't have personalities that mesh, but we're able to stay mostly civil for my mother. My sister is one of those hyper-religious people that doesn't believe in Western medicine and wants everything natural. My sister-in-law recently got out of the hospital after being there for an extensive period of time following a really messy labor. From what I know, she went into labor prematurely and had to get an emergency C-section as her and the baby's lives were at risk. It was a tough period of time for her and my brother. We were talking about how they have been progressing since they got out, and my sister-in-law shared how hard it's been having to bounce back from that traumatic experience to take care of her son. My sister turned to my brother and said, "Had to take the easier route and she still complains," and laughed. My sister-in-law asked what she meant. My sister proceeded to go on a tirade about how she kept trying to help her throughout her pregnancy and she didn't listen, and that's why things turned out the way they did, and that she took the shortcut and has the audacity to complain. My sister-in-law tried to explain that the doctors told her what would be best for her during her pregnancy because of issues she was already having and that her delivery was the best course of action. My sister would not let up and was gradually getting more insulting, ignoring me telling her to knock it off. My sister-in-law ended up crying, and I was pissed. I turned to my sister and said, "So are you going to take the advice of trained medical professionals or one dumb jerk who couldn't get through high school?" My sister lost her mind and started yelling at me, to which I just repeated "get a job" over and over again, which made her angrier till she was crying and hurling insults at me. My brother and sister-in-law ended up leaving, and my mom came and intervened, telling my sister to calm down and me to leave. Since then, I had a heated phone call with my brother because he believes that I should have just kept my mouth shut and let women handle their business. My parents are divorced, left me multiple texts grilling me and calling me a disgrace and whatnot because my sister went crying to him, and my mom texted me saying that she thinks my sister was a bit harsh, but that I was way out of line and I need to apologize to her. My sister-in-law texted me and said that she's sorry she caused this situation and that she appreciates me speaking up, but I didn't have to, and that's what's making me feel awful. I'm in a bad state with my family, I always have been and I'm fine with that, but I don't want to put her in a bad position with them too when she's done nothing wrong. Am I the jerk for insulting my sister after she insulted my sister-in-law? Relevant comments. Commenter 1, so your brother, who should have stood up for his wife, is mad at you for doing so. He has now pressured his own wife into telling you shouldn't have done so? Does this mean he also believes the same thing your sister does? I'm just glad your sister-in-law saw at least one person stand up for her in that debacle. Unfortunately, she has a husband problem and you have a family problem. I would just ignore the rest of your family and make sure your sister-in-law knows she deserves someone standing up for her and didn't do anything wrong. She didn't cause your sister to be a jerk. Seems she was born that way, considering how the rest of your family are. Ops response, my brother's always been really non-confrontational and a keep-the-peace type of guy, so I wasn't surprised that he didn't say anything, just that he didn't even try to take my sister-in-law and leave. I'm also not surprised by him being mad at me because on the flip, I am overly confrontational, which he has always hated. Commenter 2, definitely not the jerk. Someone needed to put her in her place. Seems like your family is too comfortable doling out abuse and not being called out on it. I'd go low contact with them all for my peace of mind. Ops response, I'm already low contact, my only connection to them is through my mom, who I have a decent relationship with. I think the text my dad sent is the first bit of contact we've had in like a year. Commenter 3, not the jerk. Your brother is the jerk though for not standing up for his wife. Wouldn't be surprised if there was a divorce in the near future. Your whole family is a mess. Why are they backing her up so much? Ops response, well, my dad just pretty blatantly doesn't like me, so that's probably why. My mom just doesn't like problems in the family, and I'm pretty sure she wants me to apologize so my sister'll shut up. My sister lives with her. My brother is the one I don't understand, he's always been non-confrontational, but in this case, his wife was being insulted. I'd think he'd at least remove her from the situation, but I mean, he also doesn't like me, so that might be why he got mad. Update 1 day later. Op follows up with a post 1 day later screenshotting a conversation between him and his brother. Brother, my sister's name has been trying to help us throughout our entire pregnancy and has been there for us when you were nowhere to be seen, so don't act like you're some good guy. She stuck by us even when my sister-in-law's name was being horrible to her, which by the way, she apologized for, something you're probably not familiar with. We all know how my sister's name is, including my sister-in-law's name, she was just emotional that night, and so it got to her, but she could handle it, she's a grown woman. Instead of just letting them have their conversation, you have to butt in so you can antagonize my sister's name like you always do, you just can't stand that she actually helps the family, unlike you who just bring us down. OP, antagonize my sister's name. Give me a freaking break, that freaking clown flies off the handle every chance she gets when someone disagrees with her. You let a woman who thinks pouring coffee up your rear will detox your body dictate your wife's pregnancy when your wife literally tells you she doesn't like that. Does that not worry you? Like, do you agree with her, or are you too much of a fricking pansy to tell her to frick off? What kind of chicken shit husband lets his sister bully his own wife? Also funny how you're complaining about me not being around to help y'all when you word for word said to me I don't want your disgusting gay stuff infecting my kid. Heck, I thought I was just honoring your wishes. Brother, you're acting like my sister's name is a nutcase when she just has differing viewpoints from you. You're such a freaking child, you can't stand that people think differently from you. You've become a psycho lib and want to push that onto everyone else. OP, pointing out factual medical science as being a psycho lib, holy crap, you are going to get that kid seriously harmed. Your wife has enough sense to try to keep herself and your son, who you should be protecting, safe with what doctors recommend instead of listening to psychobabble about letting toxins into her body. Brother, this is all you do is try to tear down the family instead of helping us because you want to act like you're better than us. Poor little baby, someone was mean to him once, so now he has to ruin everything for the rest of us. If mom wasn't trying so hard to keep you around, no one would want anything to do with you. We can talk when you apologize to my sister's name and my sister-in-law's name for getting into their business and being a jerk. Trying to make me seem like I don't take care of my wife when you sit there and make your sister cry, frick off. OP, trust, if mom wasn't trying so hard to keep us all together, I'd love to be done with the rest of you. That's all you know how to do is be dad or my sister's name little freaking purse dog and do what they say. Only thing is you rope this poor lady and kid to suffer cause you can't think for yourself. Hope she wises up before you mess up that kid. So sensitive to that woman child throwing a tantrum but not to your wife being chastised, ridiculous. Update 2 months later. We ended up having a pretty in-depth conversation about how my sister has treated her in the past. Apparently, my sister moved in with her and my brother for a brief period to help with my sister-in-law's first pregnancy and was really overbearing and constantly ridiculing her choices for the sake of the baby. My sister-in-law unfortunately suffered from what sounded like an ectopic pregnancy and had to have an emergency surgery to have the fetus removed. My sister and my brother apparently think that's the same thing as ending a pregnancy, and she was blamed for the loss of the child, and from how she spoke, she also saw this as a failure on her part. It pissed me off, and I did my best to explain to her the medical reasonings of why what happened was necessary and not her fault and that my brother and sister are just kind of stupid. She shouldn't feel bad for doing something necessary to save her life, especially because the fetus wasn't even viable. That was the last time she spoke, and I just let her know I'd be there if she needed anything. I guess either she told my brother or he found out from her messages about the conversation and took it as me flirting with his wife. I'll give him the fact that I did call him stupid in the messages, but come on, thinking an emergency procedure for a life-threatening situation was your wife willfully terminating her pregnancy and making her feel bad about it is freaking stupid, sorry. He told the rest of my family about how I'm envious and trying to take his wife, which they all believed and are now mad at me. This wouldn't be a big deal to me if my mom, 53F, wasn't also included in that. My mom is the only one in my family I have good relationship with, but apparently she believes my brother and has called me to scold me about betraying my brother and being shameless along with my other family members. This is all frustrating, but here's the absolute best part about this. The reason I'm estranged from my family is because I'm gay. It is like the thing that messed our family up. I've very openly been seeing another man for the past 3 years. My brother has also been open about not wanting me around his family because of my unnatural lifestyle. All that just to easily believe I'm in love with a woman? I guess the reason I come here is so that I can understand how this would be believable? I understand my dad and my sister believing this easily. They hate me and probably just want a reason to feel justified in rallying against me, but I can't really comprehend my mother believing it. But maybe I gave her too much credit. At the end of the day, I am very much the outlier of my family on all fronts. I also wonder if maybe my sister-in-law took what I was saying as me taking an interest in her? Maybe I made her uncomfortable, but the most I did was just explain medical things to her so she wouldn't feel bad about her first pregnancy. I don't know, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I've always been at peace with not having my family, especially because my family is full of nut jobs, but I think potentially having to accept my mom is also that way is making me second guess myself. I also don't like the idea that I made my sister-in-law uncomfortable. Sorry for the long post, but has anyone been in a situation similar to this? Is my relationship with my mom salvageable, and can I get her to see that my brother is a mental case? Relevant comments. Commenter 1, there's no way a 28-year-old man married a 20-year-old woman without abuse involved. Steal his girl and his kids, non-intimately, cause they need your help. Ops response, I don't know when they met, but I'm inclined to agree. The area I grew up in is very evangelical fundamentalist Christian heavy, and unfortunately, it's common to see age gaps like that. My mom and dad have a 12-year gap. My family are hardcore evangelicals, and to my understanding, my sister-in-law is also hyper-religious. Update 3, 1 month later. Don't know if anybody is following me, but when I came back to this account, I seen a significant number of messages asking me how I'm doing, if everything's alright, what happened to my siblings, what happened to my sister-in-law, and all that. I just want to say thank you to everyone being concerned for me. It's real nice, but I promise, no matter how the situation turned out, while not ideal, I was going to be fine as I've had about a decade to get used to being ostracized from them and about 5 years building a new, much healthier, less insane life with a new family made of friends and my significant other. I'm not completely alone like I was all those years ago, thankfully. I've had a lot of people guess about me and my family's background, and without getting too specific, I'll just let you know I grew up in a very small fundamentalist Christian town in western Tennessee. My family is full of devout, ye old ways, evangelical Christian nationalists, so it's not a surprise that they're not too psyched that I ended up a gay progressive atheist who studies medicine. I was never gonna be able to fit back in with them once I came out and deconstructed from Christianity, and I think my clinging to my relationship with my mom was just wishful thinking because I thought she wasn't as awful as the rest of them. Let's get on to the real meat and potatoes though. Things were honestly really quiet after the whole op. The slur is actually super in love with my wife and trying to steal her from me shtick my brother was pulling happened because I kinda just gave up on trying with any of them because frankly, them believing that made me realize there is quite literally nothing I can do. Cut my losses, blocked them, kept on trucking with my life. Last week though, as I was leaving class, who do I see waiting for me but my mother? Just for reference, I live about an hour and a half away from the rest of the family. At first, I just kept on walking cause I really didn't want to deal with that stuff, but she stopped me and asked if we could talk. She didn't really look mad or anything, she just looked really worn out and sad. While I honestly wasn't feeling particularly sympathetic, I was curious, so I agreed. She asked if we could go back to my apartment. I said heck no and took her to the park to sit. She tried to open with small talk, but I just told her to get on with it. So, apparently she came to let me know that my sister-in-law and nephew have gone missing, my brother is distraught over it, and they think I had something to do with it. Now, mind you, the last time I spoke to her was the night we had the conversation about her ectopic pregnancy. She didn't reach out ever again after that and randomly blocked me. Naturally, I'm ready to get up and leave because holy crap, you people cannot be freaking serious, but my mom is pleading to me that if I know where she is, I have to let her know because they're worried about my brother, not her, my brother. You might be wondering why I put gone missing in quotations. Well, that's because of what my mother described as the lead up to her disappearance. Apparently, my sister-in-law's older brother came to visit her and my brother without warning. My sister-in-law actually hadn't had contact with him per my brother's request because the last time they saw each other was when my sister-in-law and brother got engaged, roughly 4 years ago. They ended up in an altercation, and the dude beat the absolute heck out of my brother. I did know about this as my mom was in shambles for an entire week about it, and the entire family was mad at sister-in-law for letting it happen. Common theme here. Point is, this dude freaking hates my brother and vice versa, so he wasn't happy about it, but they kept it civil. On the third day of his visit, my brother came back from work to an empty house. Sister-in-law, her brother, and the baby were nowhere to be found. Sister-in-law's brother's car was gone. My brother didn't think anything of it at first. All of sister-in-law's belongings were still there, including her phone, so he just assumed they went out to lunch or whatever, but after a couple hours, there was still no sign of them. Another thing important to note, the guy apparently didn't bring anything with him when he came to stay with them, just him in his car. My brother ended up calling the police and filing a missing persons report the next day, and that's where they are right now, though from what my mom is telling me, the police are being weirdly lax about it. Hearing all of that, I feel like it's pretty natural to assume that she flew the coop, kid in hand, with the assistance of her brother. My mom, however, is adamant that something happened to her or that she's being influenced and is in danger, and no matter how hard I tried to make her see the clues that sister-in-law probably left on her own accord, she just wouldn't accept it. She was crying about how my brother is so humiliated and crushed about it and that I have some responsibility over my sister-in-law's disappearance and my brother's current state. At this point, this woman has devolved into borderline scream crying about how I ruined my family's life and reputation while I sit there nodding along and going oh yeah, Honestly, the pathetic sight of my mother babbling about how I'm to blame for my family's shortcomings actually helped me get rid of the last bit of affection I had towards her, so silver lining, I guess. The little psychotic break my mother was having was, call me insensitive, going on for far too long, and I really had more important things to do. I said, okay, well, good luck with that, gave her a hearty pat on the shoulder and walked back to campus while she sat there crying. I know, not the nicest thing to do, but there is literally nothing else I can do for these people, and honestly, I kinda just don't even really have the capacity to feel bad for her anymore, it just kinda is what it is. My mom hasn't come back to my campus since then, and none of them know where I live, so it's whatever. However, I started getting a bunch of messages from a random number over the weekend following the interaction with my mother. This number I very easily recognized was our original foe, my lunatic sister, angrier and just as unemployed as ever. She basically parroted the same sentiment my mother gave but in a much harsher and unfortunately, funnier way. Calling me a big pharma, slur who destroyed the family did in fact give me a little giggle, I won't lie. Very godly, very loving thy neighbor of her. I muted it, but I didn't block it cause the angry ramblings of a mentally deranged woman in her mid-30s can be pretty entertaining. Anyways, maybe the cops will eventually ask me questions about my sister-in-law, but I got just about as much of a clue as the rest of them. Wherever she is, I hope both she and my nephew are safe, glad someone was able to get her the heck out of this nightmare of a family, and maybe it'll be a better beginning for her. I have no idea how that'll work with custody arrangements though. Again, sorry for the long post, this account has basically become a lame diary. Shout out to anyone who actually sees this and thanks for all the well wishes. I'm gonna eat a funny gummy and try to act like this stuff never happened. Final update, 2 weeks later. Hey Reddit, just wanna say I appreciate the well wishes people have been giving me, and I'm sorry if I haven't responded to your message. I'm not real good at getting back to people. I also don't really look at this account outside of making a post and looking at some comments. I wondered where the influx of people came from, but my posts got posted to a big subreddit, so that explains it. Anyways, I know opinions were split on whether or not my sister-in-law was safe, and I understand why people thought she potentially wasn't. Sorry to those people who were asking me questions, I genuinely didn't know the answer. Just to give you guys some insight, I have gone completely dark with my family, and I don't really have any connections from my hometown, so I don't really have anyone to contact about how things are going aside from the rogue phone number my sister is using to yell text at me. Someone asked me how I know it's her, and if you ever met the woman, I promise you, reading those texts, you'd know it's her. Plus all the very personal stuff in there, but you get the idea, context clues. Who knows, I could be wrong, but I really doubt that. No, I haven't texted her back. Yes, she still leaves messages. But back on topic, I was also really curious about where my sister-in-law had gone, but I didn't have any plans on contacting her, not that I could anyways. I can't really imagine that she'd want anything to do with anyone that has my last name anymore, so I just relied on trying to find some vague lead. Some issues were that she didn't have any social media, and I don't know a ton about her. I've said it before, I didn't actually interact with her all that much aside from the occasional conversation when she would be over for the dinners my mom hosted, so most of what I knew was rather surface level. I decided to make a Facebook, I don't use it, I hate its UI, and comb through my brother's account. Just to reiterate, my sister-in-law doesn't have social media that I know of and nothing on my brother's account linked to her. However, he had a post up celebrating the birth of their child, and I used the comments of that to potentially find a lead. After combing through each congratulation and the profile accompanying it, I found one from a woman wishing my sister-in-law a speedy recovery and that she misses her. The woman's profile said she lives in Cape Town, South Africa. My sister-in-law originally comes from South Africa before she came to live with her father in Tennessee, I don't know when. After digging through her profile a bit, I ended up finding a post with a group photo that had my sister-in-law's brother in it. Now, I didn't actually know what he looks like, but I knew his name, and he was tagged in the post. I click on his account, and lo and behold, the first post I find is one he made a couple of days ago. It's a picture of him sitting at a dining room table with some people, and next to him is my sister-in-law with my nephew being held by a woman next to her who I think is their mother. So suffice to say, I'm almost positive she's not even in the US anymore. I don't know how that's gonna work out legally with my brother, custody and divorce, but I'm happy she seems to be in a much better environment. As for my family, other than my sister's ramblings and that one blow up my mom had on campus, I didn't really know what was going on with any of them. Now that I had a Facebook though, I thought it wouldn't hurt to look. My brother's posts mostly consist of religious stuff and being a family man, though he hasn't posted anything in a couple of months, and my sister just reposts snake oil healing videos and videos about how the devil is in the United States making people evil through K-pop or whatever rants people on Facebook get to. My mother is the one who has made a post talking about how she hates seeing her boy in so much pain and that karma will get my sister-in-law and that she's sad to see my brother go down the same path she did of trying to protect her family only for them to turn around and betray her, which was a treat to read. But that's where it is now, and probably where it'll end. If there's legal things going on, I'm not gonna know about it. I'm not gonna contact my sister-in-law or her brother. I don't see the benefit in it for anyone unless they ask me for like testimony or whatever. I deleted the Facebook because I don't need it, and I don't plan on keeping up with my family at all their numbers blocked. We have no contact unless one of them comes to my school to yell at me, which I doubt they'll do. I think they're done with me too. They can blame me for everything without me being present anyways. I don't know how I feel, been taking it in stride for a long time, years even, but the other night after I finished all my Facebook stalking of my mom's page, I kinda just sat there and looked at my ceiling feeling something, I don't know what. Feeling like something was crushing my ribs. I'm sure it's something, but I gotta go to work tomorrow, so I don't got time to think about it. Regardless, thank you for all the input and being interested in whatever the heck I'm rambling about. Sorry if this is a mess, I'm out of it right now, and I always make these in the middle of the night when I wanna just say stuff. I think that's just what this account ended up being.